Hey guys, hope you're all doing amazing tonight. I'm so excited for tonight. I want to introduce you to Brittney from Marvel and Make. I'm kind of freaking out because Brittney's an old friend. We kind of go way back, and it's just awesome to kind of catch up with her. Really cool. And the other thing too is Brittney mentioned she has a cold, so please excuse her if she's like sneezing on stuff or you see like snot going everywhere or anything like that. Just deal with it. But thank you all for joining us tonight. Courtney, Wide Family Farms, Creative Redundancy, T Hand 141, Luca. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, new member. Very cool. Prepper Chicken Texas. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, guys, I'm going to bring Brittney up and she's going to start talking about her channel. I have some questions for her. She said she has some questions for me. So it's going to go a little back and forth. We might ignore you for the first kind of half of the show, but then, we'll try and answer your questions as we go along. So here she is. Hey there.
Hi.
Hope you're doing awesome.
Yeah, doing good.
Yeah. Besides a little bit of a cold, but when we were backstage, I already said I had some whiskey ready to go. You said you had some whiskey.
I've been waiting to take a sip. So
nice.
Skull.
Skull.
Yeah. What are you drinking?
Canadian Club. So nothing fancy, just the basic.
Yeah.
I went shopping today at the SAQ. So it's like our one big liquor store where they sell all the booze and stuff. Because the funny thing is I was trying to work on a video today after work and lunch hour. And I wanted to put together this video where it's like I make fun of not only myself, but other YouTubers as well. So it was going to be
not in that.
No, you weren't. But it was going to be like lighthearted, so much fun. And I started writing down ideas and I got all excited and I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. This is going to be awesome. So I'm like so excited. Like I didn't even finish my whole, like, here's what I'm going to do or anything. I'm just like, oh, I'm going to go start filming. And I did a few shots and then I ran outside and you have to have the whole context, but I pulled my pants down and I jumped on the compost and I started filming and I did my little thing. And as soon as I said what I had to say, the board broke where I was sitting over top of the compost. And I fell backwards into the compost with my feet up in the air in my underwear. And I scratched the back of my legs. So that was kind of my day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway,
I don't know where to go from there.
I know, eh? So with that, you and I go back quite a ways.
Like over a decade.
I would say it's over a decade.
Yeah.
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 We're in the same industry, which is very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And we know some cool people and that kind of stuff. And yeah, after we met, we've been good friends. You came up to Canada a couple times.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool.
Yeah. Only one time.
Was it the one time? I thought it was two, but maybe it was the one time.
Yeah, I think it was just the one time.
Okay. And we took you out to the range. It was with Larry Vickers. If anyone doesn't know Larry Vickers, he's an awesome guy, ex-Delta Force. And
some good memories on that trip with Larry. My goodness.
Yes.
And your shop and a certain object that he sent me. Do you remember that?
No.
I don't even know if I want to say it here.
Maybe off camera or off the show.
Off camera.
We'll go back and relive some of those, but but yeah,
the loading mags on the range.
Yes, I was going to mention the loading mags. So the big difference between Canada and the US, if anyone doesn't know, is mags up here are pinned to 5 rounds. Down in the US, they can have 30 round mags or 20 round mags for the rifles, no problem.
50.
So Brittney came up to the range and we were all shooting at the range, and she asked if she could help. And I said, yeah, we need some mags loaded. And she was kind of like, oh, loading mags is horrible. I'm like, no, it's okay. You're good. It's, this is Canada.
Yeah, it was easy.
Totally different from the USA.
Mm-hmm. Just
Yeah.
a little.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
good times.
But the cool thing is I saw you on YouTube. Like the last time I saw you, I want to say it was 2 years at SHOT Show.
Yeah, it would have been 2020.
20 at
Yeah,
SHOT.
I think 2020. Before the world changed.
Yes.
Yeah.
We won't get into that.
We won't get into that.
No. But I saw you there, and then all of a sudden in the last little bit, I saw you pop up on YouTube. I'm like, hey, how's it going? What's going on? So you were mentioning you had started a blog, and the blog has been going on for what, a year?
A year. Yep. A little over a year.
So why don't you tell me a little bit about the blog, a little bit about you, a little bit about your life down in Georgia, kind of,
just talk.
Just go on about what it is you're doing now.
So I started the blog a little over a year ago. It's a recipe blog. I cook everything from scratch, and I just wanted to share nutrient-dense recipes. I'll get a little bit more into that, I guess. The YouTube channel came only a couple months ago. I haven't had it for very long. I think I've got maybe like 15 videos. And it was kind of born out of necessity to show people what I was doing. Because I kept talking about like things that I keep in my pantry or my freezer, or, how to make, whatever. And so I just decided to start doing videos, not really with the thought of I'm going to be a YouTuber. Just, I need a place for these videos to live. So set it up right. Yeah. I am a mom of 3 littles, a 4-year-old, 2-year-old, 1-year-old. She'll be 1 in 2 weeks. So I'm calling her 1.
Yeah.
So very busy. And then you mentioned we're in the same industry. So I work full time and do the kind of the blogging thing at night after the kids go to sleep.
Right.
So hopefully there's not a kid that comes walking in here needing to go to the bathroom.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have a full-time job, you do the blog, you do YouTube, I want to say homestead. You said you had a different name for that. You also hunt.
I forgot we were going to talk about hunting. Yeah.
Yeah. Does Matt do any of the cooking, or do you do all the cooking in the house?
I do most of the cooking, but it's kind of more just because I really enjoy it. I like being in the kitchen. I'm also a little bit particular about the kitchen and everything in place, and that we use the ingredients that we have that are fresh. So I kind of like to control that.
Right.
You mentioned that I was sick, or that I am sick. So he did the cooking tonight.
Nice.
As soon as he got home from work, I'm like, please, you have to, I can't do it. Yeah. So I do most of it. I enjoy it, but he's really good at it too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Just want to take a second, say hello to Scott, Rambling with the Brooms. Who else did I see? Urban Homesteading Channel came in. Hello. And I think that's it. But if I missed you, hello. Welcome.
Yeah.
So you got dinner made for you tonight. Yeah.
I did.
Yep.
It was nice.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah. And if you guys haven't gone over and checked out Marvel and Make YouTube channel, go check it out. Brittney is doing some awesome stuff over there. Like very cool stuff.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me tonight, by the way. This is
I'm
a
glad
pleasure.
you could join us. We talked about it before. I think it was like a month or 2 ago we started talking about it, and
before you got married.
Yes,
officially.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And then it was like, we need to tee something up, make this happen. And finally made it happen. So I'm pretty sure everyone wants to know what a beautiful woman like you is doing hunting alligators.
You just threw out the alligators, right?
I know. that still to me just
I sh
baffles my mind. It's like
I
so
should have
cool,
I
right?
should have
Because
brought my, I should have put my alligator skull right here.
I know, but
Shoot.
I mean, even the average hunter, um, they may think about hunting alligators, but it's not in the forefront of their mind. And it's not something that the average person can do either.
Right. Yeah, it is, I guess it is pretty specific to this area. So I'm in Southeast Georgia. I'm from Florida, originally from North Florida, St. Augustine, if there's anybody. Um, and then I'm now in not very far from the border. Um, and yeah, I've been a couple of different times. So the way that it works in Georgia is you put in for a lottery for the chance to be drawn. And it typically takes 5 to 6 years for you to get your
Oh,
tag,
wow.
and you can go out and get your guy, get your gator.
Nice.
Um, so last year was I've been a few times with my husband, but last year was my chance. This is actually a kind of a cool story. Last year was my tag, and years before that, before I think probably the first time I ever put in for my tag, I saw the biggest gator I've ever seen. And this was, so we used to live on the marsh in the water. We now moved out to the country. We've got 15 acres.
I remember
Um,
seeing pictures of you. You had like the dock going right out to the river and
yep. Yeah, we
the
kept the boat
coolest
in the
thing.
water. That was before kids. So
Right.
life is different now. Um, but yeah, I was out, I was actually in the boat by myself. And I saw this gator way away from where we ever used to go. So I said, when I get my tag, I want to go kill that one. And so fast forward years later, I get my tag, and my husband's buddy, who has like all the equipment in the boat, wants to go somewhere else. So we go somewhere else, like night after night after night. You hunt these gators at night typically.
Right.
And I kept saying, I really want to go after mine. And then, so we never got one. And the day before the season went out, he finally said, all right, all right, all right, we'll go see if your gator's still there. Cause it's been years. So we go out at night, and it's dark. You come around the corner and you wear these headlights with, that are shining red,
Okay.
because you can shine a light in the gator's eyes and it doesn't spook them. They don't, like, I don't know if
It's
it's that they
not
don't
like
see red. It doesn't spook them. So they'll look right
same as
back
like
at you.
pig hunting. You shine them with a bright light and suddenly they're gone. But if you slowly introduce them to light,
Oh
it's okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So we come around the corner anyway. We see this, our buddy says, big gator, and there he is. And anyway, the way that you hunt gators is you have to get control of them before you kill them.
Okay.
I'm okay saying all of this on here, right?
I assume so.
Okay. Like, anyway, so what you do is you can either like use a fishing pole and a treble hook and
Okay.
hook them. So you're like, literally, you have a
Kind
gator
of
on
like
the other
fighting a
end,
fish, but
but very different, with teeth that will come
yeah.
out of the water at you. The way we did it was we used a crossbow. So it actually took me a couple shots. I finally got him in his
Okay.
jowls, and got a line in him, and then you basically fight him up, and finish him off with. I finished him off with a pistol. It's a lot of fun. It's very different.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
cool.
I don't know if you wanted all that information or not, but
Oh yeah, definitely.
okay.
Definitely. It
Yeah,
was
but
it
we
was so
also
funny because you
go
mentioned
ahead.
kind of like, kind of fishing with teeth. And suddenly my mind goes back to when, I don't know if you were there, when Edwin, uh, a good friend of both of ours, took me out
Yeah,
shark fishing when I was down in Georgia.
I
Yes.
wasn't there. That's awesome.
Yeah. So
That sounds exactly like something Edwin would do.
Edwin, so a good friend of both of ours took me out shark fishing in Georgia. And we went out from the coast of Savannah out into the waters, and we were fishing in between two shrimp boats. And it was overcast,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, this is great. This is nice and warm. I wasn't wearing a ball cap. I didn't have my long hair at the time. And it was overcast, so I didn't think anything of it. And we were drinking beer and all that. And man, by the afternoon, I was starting to feel a little weird, like a little like, yeah, sun's touched me a little bit. Well, we got
Edwin
back to
probably gave you those skunk beers too.
yeah, they
That'd
were
be like him.
warm. I mean, seriously, Edwin was like, "Don't drink my beer. Here's a warm beer." I'm like, yeah. So we got back to shore, and I think if I remember correctly, I went back to the hotel afterwards or whatever. And then the next day I went into the office with everybody. And another friend of ours, Meredith, says, "You look like a tomato." I was that red.
I do remember this.
And it was like an overcast, but the sun down in Georgia, even though it's overcast, it's still going to get you. It's not like
You
up here in
Canadian,
Canada.
you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So,
Oh man.
yeah. So, kind of getting back to stuff, your blog and your channel, you've been doing some stuff with like cooking from scratch. Um, you mentioned too that actually, I'll just cut out for a sec here. I want to say hey to our life off grid, Leonard Lund. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Glad you could be here. So, you basically cook, bake everything from scratch. You also do you drink a lot of raw milk as well. You've kind of gone like really, I want to say hippie, but
I
not so
can
much hippie, eh?
I can own hippie. Do you own hippie with the
um
hair?
yeah, as long as you don't say dirty hippie,
Oh yeah.
I'm okay. Yeah. I like if someone says hippie, I'm like, yeah, whatever. So
Yeah,
you
it's
say
funny.
dirty hippie, and I'm like, no, not so much.
I was told back like in my teens that I was a hippie and I was not. But it was just because I had long hair and I would wear long skirts. I would say now I'm pretty crunchy if you want to use that term. Do you guys have that term, crunchy?
No,
No,
no.
like so like crunchy granola, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Granola's, yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's been a journey. So I guess I started when I got married, this was 8 years ago. I couldn't cook at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um so a good example of what I thought was cooking from scratch would have been do you have au gratin potatoes? Have you had those? Or is that like a weird
I
thing?
think we talked about this, and I told
We
you we
did.
got it in a box.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So if you
And
said
to stop you right there, yes, Bridget can cook it from scratch, and she has the odd time. But because we're so busy with everything else, usually we just do it from a box.
no, no. Yeah, but
Yeah.
but back then, I would have thought that because I was pulling it out of the box, adding some milk, putting it in a pan, that I was really cooking.
Right. Right.
Not like it would have never occurred to me, like, to use some flour and grate some cheese and cut up potatoes or anything like that. So anyway, my like food journey started with bread. So you've grown wheat, right? I saw all of
Yes.
that. You grew wheat um and and I'm saying wheat. Is
As a general kind of
yeah,
grain term.
right, right.
Yes. Yeah.
Um yeah, I'd love to know about that because I'd love to try to do that. I haven't done it yet, but
It's a
anyway,
lot of
I
work.
mill the wheat and make the flour. Yeah, tell me about your experience there. Would you do that
No,
again?
you gotta finish your bread journey first, and
Oh,
then
come on.
then we'll go back to
I
blowing the
started
wheat.
buying grains in bulk. I learned that basically white flour, the flour that we bake with, has had all of the nutrients removed. So all of your essential oils, your vitamins, everything that kind of helps your body to digest it has been taken away. So you're just basically eating this dead food. So that was the first change I made. I started buying grains in bulk. I remember like looking at a bag of all-purpose flour when like standing in my kitchen, like, well, I don't need you anymore. I'm gonna really do this. Um, Bought a grain mill. The grain mill sits on my counter. Um, and yeah, so whenever I need flour, which is pretty much every day, like even if I'm going to be breading like chicken to fry it up,
Right.
or, making some fresh bread or pancakes or whatever, I'll mill it fresh. So, and the
That's
flavor is
awesome.
I mean, completely incomparable to just a white flour. It's the grains are all different. So spelt is like sweet and nutty. Einkorn is an ancient grain that also has kind of a nutty flavor, but is really good for like rising, like a beautiful sourdough loaf.
Nice.
So yeah.
I was kind of jealous of your electric grain mill that I saw there in the one video. I was like, that's awesome. I went and dropped some money on one of those manual ones.
Yeah. What did you
So
get? Do you know?
I can't remember. I want to say it was like Victoria,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
I'm not positive on that. But man, it's a lot of
Those
work.
those can be quite a bit more expensive than
I know,
the
that's the
electric ones.
thing.
Yeah.
It's like I'm tempted just to sell it anyway, because like growing grain from scratch is a lot of work
So tell
to
me,
do the whole process. So we did our potatoes, we did the root out method. So, where you put the manure down or put the grass down and you let it rot, and then you plant your potatoes and then you cover it with mulch and you let them grow up. So the problem with that is it's extremely accessible to any rodents or anything that's on the surface. So even chickens, the chickens were in there nonstop, pulling back the mulch and pecking at the potatoes. So I don't recommend it at all. Like if you're going to plant potatoes, plant them in the ground.
would
So
you if you had it fenced in,
if we had it
would
fenced
you
in,
have
it would
done
have
it?
stopped the chickens, but it would not have stopped the rodents.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we did that and we covered it with fresh straw. So we did not let the straw age at all. We did not let the straw rot or anything like that. So the seeds and everything are still in the straw from combining the wheat. So when we put the straw over top as the mulch, all those seeds germinated and started growing the wheat. So we had about a 10 by 30 patch of area where we planted our potatoes during this root out method, where all of a sudden all the grain popped up. And I knew this was going to happen. So I was like, let's see what actually happens, see if we can work with it, see if we can harvest it. And again, unless you have it fenced in, the chickens are all over it, picking at the wheat. So it's just a disaster.
Yeah.
But then you have to harvest it. So you got to cut it all, collect all those heads or all the entire thing, depending on how you're going to thresh it. Then you got to thresh it. So you get rid of all the little seeds or berries from the wheat itself.
Are you doing this by hand or do you have a machine to do it?
So I actually used a 5-gallon pail. And you know those paint mixers that you can put on your drill?
Yeah.
So I cut it apart. I cut that little spinny thing apart and put 2 chains on it. So then I attached it to my drill and spun it. So the chain spun and beat all the wheat, the grain,
That's awesome.
the berries, and pulled it apart. But then you have to willow it. So you have to separate the chaff from the berries. You do that. And then once you have all your seeds, your berries, well, then you have to mill it. And then
Do you dry it at all?
yeah. So we let it dry
Okay.
before we beat it, threshed it, willowed it, the whole works. Then we put it through the mill, and then I decided I'm going to use the whole thing to make one loaf of bread, which was a mistake. I should have taken parts of that and incorporated it with other flour to make bread. So that chunk of bread that was like this big was probably 500 pounds. It was yummy and it didn't rise much, but yeah.
What do you remember what kind of wheat it was?
I'm pretty sure it's like winter wheat.
Yeah.
Red.
Yeah, like hard red.
Yeah.
Hard
Yeah.
red.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your hard red and your hard white are your winter, and then your
Yep.
soft and your soft red, soft white are your spring.
Yep.
Yeah. The
So
kids,
my
when I go to mill the soft white, I give them a little, they come running to the mill because they hear it going and they open their
mm.
mouth like little birds. And I just put them some berries in their mouth and they chew it kind of like gum and walk off.
Ah, nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think if you had, I want to say just a little bit bigger area and you dedicated it to actually planting rather than what we did was by accident,
Yeah.
then it would be a little more effective. And I think if you did something, maybe something else, millet or something else, it would be, again, a lot more effective. So it's hard doing it on a small scale.
Yeah. You've done it. That's cool.
Done it. Can say I did
Check
it.
that box. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I probably won't do it next year. Maybe the year after when I figure out a better system. But yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
get yourself a electric mill.
I was so jealous of watching you with the electric mill. It was just like done.
Yeah, and if
Yeah.
anybody's interested, I have the Mock Mill Lino 100. They have all sorts of different kind of models. This one's kind of
Hmm.
like middle of the line, but it's so convenient because it's so pretty. It sits on your counter. You just pour the grains on top. You turn it on, you pour the grains on top, and it's a stone mill, so it just grinds
That's
the
so
grains up and
cool.
spits out the flour. Um, and it's if I had to like take an if the appliance was too big and I'd have to like go get it from the pantry and bring it in and out of the kitchen, I wouldn't probably use it as much. But
Right.
because it sits there, I use it just about every day.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's so funny because when appliances are handy or they're small or something like that, you're able to utilize them a lot better than something that's big, unwieldy, or has too many parts or
Yeah.
something like that.
Or like the old saying, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess shameless plug here. If also I've got lots of whole grain recipes on my blog. So a couple of them are on the YouTube channel, but on the blog there's a whole section. So
Nice.
if you get curious,
What is the blog? What like can you
the URL is
yeah,
marvelandmake.com.
perfect.
Yep.
Perfect. Cool.
Hmm.
And on your YouTube video, you're doing a lot from scratch. And I noticed too, like a couple of videos were what to stock in your pantry and freezer for basically baking from scratch, which is pretty cool because there's always times like I'm trying to bake from scratch and I run out of something, or like you look up a recipe and all of a sudden it's like what can I substitute for that? Or can I
Right.
leave that out? Or I wish I had that.
Yeah. Yeah. That kind of came from when we moved to the boonies. Do you have that term?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're 35 minutes from any kind of grocery store. There's a very small grocery store about 10 minutes down the road, but you're
Okay.
not going to really find much.
Not
Um,
nothing that yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
um, and also because life is crazy right now. Our economy is insane. Inflation,
Yep.
I buy a lot in bulk just
Nice.
to try to save money. Um, and so, yeah, so I actually like at one point in time had a full on spreadsheet with inventory of the pantry items and freezer items that I
Yep.
have. You're nodding like you've done this.
Yeah. So we did was it last year or the year before for our one freezer? We had our chest freezer kind of right over here and we had a blackboard. So we wrote down
Nice. A
everything that
blackboard.
was
That's
in the
genius.
freezer with the blackboard. And then when we took something out, we'd like, 3 Highland steaks. Okay, now we're down to 2 Highland steaks. So it was a great way to, you know,
Look at you,
easily keep
fancy
track.
Highland steaks.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
But you were talking about you're going to actually start getting some more animals because you right now have chickens. You've
We have
done
chickens and
grouse, you said?
ducks. We have
Right?
chickens and
Duck.
ducks currently.
Yep.
We did quail. We did quail when we were in before we moved here. We were in a condo.
Right. I said grouse, but I meant quail.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
quail were great. That
Similar
was our
looking, just a little smaller.
yeah. Um, yeah, they were fine. They were easy to manage. So the plan is in the spring is we'll get some meat birds.
Yep.
Some friends of ours, we just help them butcher 30 meat birds, and
Nice.
so we're just gonna go in with them, like basically get ours the same time that they get theirs, and so we can just have one party one day and take care of everything and put them up. Um,
Nice.
so we'll do that. Yeah.
Cool. Um, I got a lot more questions for you, but I'm going to start getting into everyone's comments that are
Okay.
watching.
I'll stop trying to talk so much.
Oh, no, it's all good.
Okay.
LG, thanks for joining us. Good to see you. I'm not sure if anyone else joined us. If you did and I missed you, thanks so much for joining us. I know Tracy had a comment. What is your favorite wheat to mill?
Man, what a question. Spelt is probably
Okay.
my favorite. I have a lot of spelt recipes. It's such a naturally sweet grain. So um, probably my favorite thing to make with it is pancakes,
Okay.
because we really don't even have to use syrup. It's just so sweet by itself. And let's see, I've got a brownie recipe with I think with that one, and a peach cobbler recipe as well.
Oh,
But
wow.
it's delicious.
I
Yeah.
know you're making CR. If CR is still watching, you're making CR hungry. Creative redundancy. You start talking food and he's always
I
hungry.
can talk food all day. Yeah, and then I guess the other one, would be soft white wheat. Soft white wheat
Okay.
is kind of like think of it like an all-purpose flour, but with a little bit of flavor.
Nice.
And I use that for, like, pie crust.
Okay.
That's a really easy recipe. I think it's 2.5 cups of soft white wheat with a stick and a half of butter. Lots of butter. Guys, use butter, real butter.
I love butter. I
Yeah.
use so much butter. It's crazy. Like we need a freezer dedicated just to butter.
Okay, do you have a dairy cow?
No, we have our Highlands, but we don't
Okay.
milk them. We want to actually get some goats so then we can use the goats for milk.
Yeah.
And then we have a dedicated source of milk, cheese,
I know. I'm
that
I
kind of
am
stuff.
I'm uh, pressuring is not the right word. um
Hinting
Hinting
continuously.
all the time that we should get a dairy cow. We've done the math. So we're on 15 acres and the whole outside area is fenced in.
Yeah,
So what we would want to do is kind of section off some of the pastures to get cows or goats. And
nice.
we've done the math and it's a big chunk, a big investment.
It is.
So
Yeah,
hopefully
yeah,
it'll be soon.
exactly. And I just noticed that, yep, CR is hungry. Um, Speaking of cows, Scott's here. He just did a live today and he lost two Highland cows that were his breeding cows with someone else based on bad food that they got. So
Oh,
that's a huge hit. It's crazy.
what
So
what happened?
um from what I understand, they got some bad hay or
Oh
bad
man.
feed and it wasn't good. So yeah. Wondering if you can buy flour that someone else has milled local. I don't know what the laws are down in the States, but in Canada, it's kind of silly because everyone's like, yeah, you can't do this, you can't do that. Like
Huh.
even selling eggs or buying eggs or that kind of stuff is crazy.
Huh.
Yeah.
I just started selling flour.
Okay.
So that's a perfect question.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a produce stand not too far from here. I guess I don't want to give location or I don't know.
You're down in
Any
Georgia.
Yeah, down in Georgia.
Yeah,
Yeah, just started milling and selling that locally. So
that's
the thing
cool.
I guess you want to know about fresh milled flour is that as soon as you mill it, um, it will start to go bad.
Okay.
So you would want to keep it in the fridge. They say 30 to 40 days or so, so about a month in the fridge. If you want to keep it longer, put it in the freezer.
Oh, wow.
And,
Okay.
it's not like it's gonna go bad, like you're gonna open a bag and say, "Woo, this is rancid," or something. It is just gonna lose its nutritional value.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, good question.
Yeah. I just noticed Scott said it was a total of 6 cows.
Oh my goodness.
That's crazy. Like that. Like I know
Uh,
what we paid for our Highlands and how much a part of the family they are. So that's brutal.
hmm.
Northern Girls Hobby, good to see ya. Glad you could join us. Hope all is well up there. Dave Knight, good to see you. Glad you could join us as well. Thanks for your continued support. Mill with a KitchenAid mixer to make beer. Barley is my favorite grain.
That's awesome.
Yep.
I love barley too, and it's on the list to make beer next year. So yeah, 2023, I wanna learn how to make, like, mead or beer or something.
Yeah.
So,
Mead's easy. I need to get into beer. I've done some other stuff, but I need to get into beer. So
mead is easy, okay.
mead's pretty easy. Yeah. So
Okay.
LG, good to see ya. The cobbler recipe sounds good with spelt.
Cobbler. I mean, I'm working on a recipe that's a pecan or a pecan, whatever you want to say, pecan pie cobbler recipe. And I've done it a couple of times, but it's not quite perfect. So I'll publish that one when it's ready. So good.
It's so funny listening to, pecan, and it was like it just reminded me of, when you start saying stuff like that. And it was down at SHOT Show. We were talking to someone, client came into the booth, and we were there in the same booth. And the client came in and he said, some I forget what it was, but hey, how's it going or something? And I was like, hey, how y'all doing today, eh? So I threw in a y'all and an A, and it was like, what the hell? Where are you from? Like, yeah, been
You don't y'all say y'all in Canada? Like
not
certain
usually.
areas? No? Okay, just
There's
kidding.
very few parts of Canada that'll use y'all.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
So I use it quite a bit just because of the amount of time I've spent in the US and stuff. But very, very few Canadians will use y'all.
Okay.
I was gonna say it's kind of like people will say you all instead of y'all. Yeah.
It's so much more work.
I know, exactly. It's like crazy. So, yeah. Let's see if there were any other questions here that we want to. Ouch.
Oh,
I don't know what that is, but it does not sound good.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, exactly. The loss on Highlands right now is crazy.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently Tracy loves pecan pie. Tracy is from the US as well. So,
Oh,
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I love it too.
It's pecan. Yeah.
I think it's technically pecan because someone told me that it was I don't know, the pronunciation was from Native Americans
Okay.
and they would say it like that, but I'm going to stand by pecan, sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. Tomato.
Yeah.
Tomato.
It's tomato.
Potato. Luca, what is M&M drinking?
I
What are
am.
you drinking?
I'm drinking Sazerac rye.
What is it?
Oh, come on, come on. Sazerac rye. So
Have I had that?
I I don't know.
Okay.
Um, Sazerac rye. It's delicious. It's a
Okay.
little bit hard to find here right now. I don't know what's going
Okay.
on, but it's it's got a perfect balance of it's real spicy, but it's smooth. Bourbon, I like bourbon too, but
Yeah.
I lately bourbon has almost been too sweet. I like
Oh
a
yeah.
good spice. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
Ooh,
I'm drinking Sazerac rye, but I made a Sazerac with the rye. So there is an absinthe rinse and then,
nice.
a couple dashes of Peychaud's bitters and Angostura bitters and simple syrup.
Oh,
Delicious.
seriously?
Yeah.
I'm drinking straight Canadian Club here, and you're like, yeah, I got like that. I might as well
Listen,
fire up like the Vespa Martini, and then I'll be like, yeah, see,
there you
hmm
go.
yeah,
Shaken or stirred, Darren.
yeah.
You're like, "I don't know, pour it in."
I always shake it.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
yeah. But speaking of which, I was at the liquor store today. Like I said, did I say that? I was there today picking up some
You
stuff.
did say that, yes,
Okay, because I was kind of trying to do my funny video on making fun of homesteaders and preppers and all that.
and it ended poorly.
It ended poorly. But one of the things too, I'll kind of touch on is I wanted to do like a grocery haul video because everyone does the grocery haul videos. And I'm like, seriously? Why do people watch grocery haul videos? It amazes me. I'm like, I could easily do a grocery haul video, but like, I don't get it. I'm not,
Oh,
someone needs
shoot.
to,
That was an idea for a video, Darren. Should I not do that?
someone needs to explain to me the fascination behind a grocery haul video.
Okay,
But
I've watched some of them,
okay.
and I feel like this is gonna sound nerdy. So part of it, I feel like you're kinda hanging out with the person that's in the video,
Okay. Yeah.
and just learning what they're buying, okay, maybe it's I don't know if you guys have Costco. We have Costco here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I watched one of those pretty recently and could kind of see what this other homesteader was buying at
Okay.
Costco. And so then it's like, it gives me ideas of what I could buy there as well. Um, I have been wanting to do this for a couple weeks now and kind of approach it from the standpoint of like, okay, what I try to do for our family is buy from local farms. If we're not producing it here, which right
Right.
now we
Right.
don't have any meat birds going or anything. So I support local and so I'll order from a farm and, purchase in bulk. But I do have to go to the grocery store. So it's kind of, I approach it from a standpoint of like, okay, if you got to go to a grocery store, this is what you can get.
Okay. Yeah.
And, come along with me. But I keep
Okay.
thinking like, I'm going to be that weirdo in my grocery store with the camera.
So for me, it was like, you know, I I just didn't get it because I see so many homesteaders. Some preppers I can understand because not all preppers are homesteaders, and vice versa. So if you're prepping, I can understand why you're not like canning or freezing or preserving and that kind of thing. So I can understand a grocery haul. But when I see homesteaders doing the grocery haul videos, so I wanted to make fun of that. And so I
Shoot.
went to the liquor store and I bought a whole bunch of liquor and I started doing the video, including my grocery haul, but it was all from the liquor
Liquor
store.
store.
Yeah. So I just want to say Quebec Homestead, good to see you, Mallory. Hope you're doing amazing. Gear Grid 19, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Where was it? Been serving plates, but now gonna eat, but still watching. Awesome. Thanks so much. Quebec Homestead. Mallory's awesome.
Hey,
She's got a great
Mallory.
channel too, and she was the one who actually did our wedding video. So
Oh, cool.
yeah,
I watched
yeah,
it. Yeah.
awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Um, there was some other. So I still have some ideas to make this funny video making fun of us all that homestead and prep and that kind of stuff. So I still want to add to it. So or maybe I won't because I injured myself in the composting section of the video. So we'll see. We'll see what
So
happens.
Darren, what's the difference between a prepper and a homesteader? What's your definition?
Okay. So for me, um, I would want to say that most homesteaders are preppers in a kind of way, but not all preppers are homesteaders. So
Okay.
when I think of someone who's a prepper, I usually think of someone who might not have a lot of land. So they could be in an apartment or they could be in a subdivision or city or something like that. So they're preparing for emergencies like floods, hurricanes, tornadoes, fires, that sort of thing. So they'll buy food in bulk from a grocery store or get ready for stuff like that. Whereas a homesteader would usually have a few acres, possibly, or 1 or 2 acres, maybe, but they'll grow a lot of their food in gardens, might raise some animals. So they'll try and put a lot of stuff away by canning or freezing or preserving. Whereas, the prepper might buy freeze dried food, the homesteader might freeze
Make
dry
it.
their own food or dehydrate or can their own food.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. I guess I'm a little bit of both, but I'm also not like I'm not like
Exactly.
you. Yeah,
You're not like me.
I'm not like you as in we don't have a bunch of animals, but canning, preserving, lacto
Exactly.
fermenting, things like that. And then I buy my grains in bulk. I mean, we've got I don't know how many. I buy the grains in 6-gallon buckets
Right.
and got
Right.
plenty stored.
So that's what I mean, that
Yeah.
most people who homestead are kind of preppers in a way because they do put away a lot of food. Like we put away meat for a year and usually vegetables for about 6 months. So in a way, you could kind of see that as prepping in some cases. So
Do you think prepping has a negative connotation these days?
it does. It does. And I think that's media. I think that is government. I think that prepping is something everyone should do, and it should not have a negative connotation to it because for me, I like to explain it as, okay, you have house insurance, you have life insurance, you have car insurance, you have, all these things that protect you, and you're paying into it if something goes wrong. Well, what about regular life? So, what if a disaster happens? What if there's a train derailment? What if there's an ice storm? What if there's a snowstorm? What if you lose your job and you have,
Supply
a
chain.
month of looking for your job? Just regular things. And now going into what's happened since 2020 is supply chain issues. There's so many things that could affect your day-to-day eating, heating, that sort of thing. Is why don't you build up a supply of food, build up a supply of medicine, build up a supply of medical supplies, build up a supply of energy, firewood, that could take you through some hard times where there is something going wrong. There's so many places around the world that have to deal with flooding, that have to deal with forest fires. a train derailment where you might have to evacuate, or cuts off your trip into town? What if you have a power outage for 3 days and the grocery store shuts down because they can't run their cash registers? It's, to me, there should be nothing negative whatsoever about prepping.
Yeah. Totally
Everyone should.
agree.
Yeah.
We're here in like kind of an area that gets hit by hurricanes quite a
Right.
bit. Yeah.
Exactly.
Same,
Yep.
I mean, same thing, and I think we were out of power for 8 days was the longest one. It was pretty significant flooding. It didn't, affect us too bad, but yeah, we needed to have food on hand and a way to cook the food, a way to make coffee because
Yep.
that's essential.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
I don't know if Alpine Preparedness is here, but yeah, coffee is definitely one of those things.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I
Also,
just
like,
saw a whole bunch of new people come in. Me and you, Akers, good to see you. Fishes and Lows Live, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Hickory Croft Farm. I don't know if I missed anyone else, but I'm way behind in the comments. So
should I be quiet?
no, definitely. I think everyone wants to kind of hear what you
I
have to say.
The only other
That's
thing I
why
was
they're
gonna
here.
say when I was listening to you talk about all the things that you should store up and, and regarding, prepping, skills,
Yes.
learn something now because, and get books on it. I would just say, don't rely on being able to always access the internet
No, that's
because you
just
might
it,
not
eh?
be able to, right?
Yep.
I've got books on, like when there is no doctor, um, got little kids. I'm their mama. I have to make sure that, I know how to take care of them. I use herbs. I'm sick right now. I don't know if you guys can hear it in my voice, but as soon as I started feeling this like tickle last night in my throat, I was outside in the herb garden pulling sage leaves and putting them in my mouth and chewing them because it's like it helps to soothe a sore throat. But yeah, things like that.
Yep.
Don't wait
Yeah,
until
we did
you.
the echinacea tinctures this year,
Yeah,
stocked a few bottles in the medicine cabinet. And
nice.
anytime a kid comes home and they start sniffling or coughing, it's like, oh, better hit that. Make sure we're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elderberry syrup, that's my kid's favorite. That's like their
Nice.
special treat, and I just made a
Nice.
batch, so they get their special treat now.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Shawnee Shave, good to see you. Glad you could join us. Hope all is well. Guys, we've been missing the comments. So if you do have any comments or questions at all, hit us up with capitals or tag us in something so we'll see it and we can definitely answer the question. I know I've missed a whole bunch there in the chat, but
I didn't even know that I could see them. I just clicked on something and now I can see
oh
them.
yeah, there you
Sorry.
go. Kill It and Grill
New
It just
timer.
came in. Kill It and Grill It is from Nebraska. Yeah. Natural meds 100%. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm all for natural meds, but if you break a bone or something, you got to know how to splint that, or you got to, you know, blood spurting out. Make sure you know how to stuff that wound because, taking some drops of echinacea won't help that
Yeah.
blood.
Should we do like a disclaimer? We're not doctors.
We are not
We
doctors. We are
cannot give
not
medical
medical
advice.
professionals. Everything you see here is not educational purposes. This is just for your
Two
entertainment
old
only.
friends catching up.
Two old friends catching up.
Yeah.
Exactly. Prepper Book Club, good to see you. Glad you could join us. Hope all is well. Yeah, so I was just wondering if there were any other questions that I wanted to hit you up with. I know Bridget and I were talking, and we were so jealous that you have 2 planting seasons compared to our one, where if something doesn't grow, you're screwed. It's like, forget
Yeah.
it, you're done. You don't have time. It's like you have this little bit of time to plant something and grow it. Whereas you have 2 seasons, you can grow potatoes and carrots year round, you were mentioning.
So 2 days ago, my 2-year-old and I went out and harvested a bunch of potatoes.
Nice.
So yeah, and a couple of straggler okras. I guess you guys probably don't have okra there.
There's some, but not a lot. And I want to say that it's not a big thing up here.
Okay.
Not like down south.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We with the little kids this year, we didn't do a fall garden, but we're gonna plant for the spring. But
Nice.
yeah, a lot of things over winter, so it is nice.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Where'd it go? I gotta click on the right thing. Luca wants to know
Sourcing grains.
Yeah.
Yeah. So mainly, so I'm a part of a couple of different co-ops. Um, there's a I'm in, like I said, Southeast Georgia for anybody who's just now joining. There's a co-op kind of in this area. Actually, I was just looking in their drop locations have expanded quite a bit, but like Georgia, Florida, Mississippi, they're on up into like North Carolina and even like Pennsylvania. But they do a drop 3 times a year, so I get grains from them in bulk. Um, Azure Standard. Do you guys have them, Darren?
The which?
Azure Standard. They might just be in the US.
Not sure.
They are nationwide in the US. And they have just about everything you can imagine and a ton of organic options. So
Probably
you can
not
buy
up
grains
here.
from them.
Okay.
There's a lot of places online that you can find grains, though.
Nice.
Yeah.
We're kind of limited because we're like way out in the middle of nowhere. So like no one delivers to us. They're like, yeah, whatever. No. Fishes and Loaves Life. Hope you have a great night. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, hard to find okra in the stores here. Not in demand here at all. It's not a thing here.
Okay. Have you had
as
okra?
grits. No one eats grits up here.
Oh my goodness.
That's crazy.
Shrimp and grits?
Talk.
Have you had shrimp and grits?
No. I think the first time I was down in Georgia visiting you guys and went into was it the Waffle House or something, or
The Waffle House.
I don't know.
Grits from the Waffle House does not count.
It had put me off grits forever. It was like someone puked on my plate. I'm done with this grit stuff.
Goodness.
Maybe like if I ever get down again and visit, you'll have to cook me some grits.
I would love that. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Grits and okra.
Okra. Have you had okra?
No.
Okay, so you're gonna get a package of Sazerac rye and grits and okra
and the tobacco.
And the tobacco. I wasn't sure if we could say tobacco or not.
We can probably say tobacco. We just can't smoke it online.
Okay.
Or like on a YouTube video.
Yeah. I need to Google.
I think we can say it. I don't know.
Can you ship tobacco to Canada?
I'll let you know after we're done this video if we could say tobacco or not.
My kids are like true Southerners, which makes me proud.
Nice.
So like I'll do black-eyed peas with okra and cornbread, and
nice.
So good.
Yeah.
So you take like smoked ham hocks or like
yummy.
Yeah, smoked ham hocks and put it in a pot with like you could do lima beans or black-eyed peas or field peas, whatever. Cover it with water, salt, and just let it kind of simmer for an hour. And it's so good. And then just pour it over some cornbread.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the kids like it all, like the okra all slimy. Good. But you could do fried okra too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because we did our 2 pigs and I did the hawks all smoked for my mom to do pea soup with.
Nice.
So she's going to do some pea soup with the smoked ham hocks that we're going to send her. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Huh.
It's crazy up here because I don't know whether it's just because we're so far apart in Canada or what it is, but there's limited options on what we can access. It's kind of crazy. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
That's been a change, in the past 2 years. There's a lot more, at least where we are, there's a lot more organic options. Um,
Nice.
yeah. One of our, like, main grocery stores is really convenient because they'll, like, add an extra label on the price so you can see that it's organic.
Nice.
I eat grits.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. Prepper Brook Cub likes grits too. Waffle House, the Waffle House, unless you're toxic. Maybe it wasn't the Waffle House that I went to, but I know I've been to the Waffle House a few times intoxicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah.
in the South and you've had too much to drink, that's where you end up.
It's kind of like us up here, and you go to in Quebec, if you get drunk or anything, you go to Ashton's and you go for some poutine. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's like,
I was at a burger joint the other day,
okay.
and they had the Canadian burger, and
Yeah.
like was
Did they have some like back bacon or female bacon or
they
maple syrup
I think
and
they were trying too hard. They
oh,
it was a patty with
did they
french
throw like a
fries
spruce tree on it or something? Just a
french fries on the patty, and
what?
the poutine. I remember butchering this word before. The poutine and, the cheese and the gravy on top and all of it in a bun. It was
Oh no,
like,
you gotta have it on the side. It's
yeah.
like, yeah. The worst is when you go to a place and they try and do the poutine and it's like they shred cheese on it. It's like, no, what do you, it's not spaghetti. Like,
Gotta be
seriously,
sticky.
we need, yeah, good cheese curds. Exactly.
Do you make cheese?
No, I so want to. Yeah.
I've
And
only done it once, and it was like
I
a
was,
super beginners.
yeah, I was freaking out because we were watching YouTube, going through all this stuff, right? And I've been to Europe and I love Europe, been to Switzerland and stuff and Germany. And then I was watching this YouTube one where they have the cows in Switzerland up in the Alps and then they bring them into like the little barn and they milk them, obviously for
Uh,
multiple days and stuff. But then they make milk right there in the Alps in this little barn. I'm like, oh, well, yes. So I'm like talking to Bridget and I'm like, okay, so we got to make a hut out in the backyard. And, this is what we need for it. And this is where we're going to make our cheese and stuff. And it's going to be epic. And like, then we need to make a cave. And in the cave, we're going to stick the cheese. And like all these like dreams and stuff. Yeah. There, do you get that? Do you get where you're like, okay, I need to do this. I want to do this. I have this idea. Um,
sure.
I need to build this. I want these animals. I want,
It's time and money.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
exactly.
want a little cottage and, a wild garden.
Yeah.
Yeah, all these things.
Yeah. It's so funny because we've talked about moving the odd time because, you know, stuff. But it was like, where would we move to? And we talked about it and it's be like, okay, if we did move somewhere, we'd have to have like an old wheat mill, something where they have the whole water wheel. So we could not only power the entire property from the water wheel, but we could make our own wheat and stuff from that as well. Um,
That's
it would have
cool.
to have like a food forest already on it. It would have to have like, you know, pastures already on it for the cows. It would have to have a few outbuildings and barns. It would have to. So it's like, yeah, good luck finding something that.
Is Bridget from Quebec?
Yeah, so she's Quebecois. She learned her English by moving around Canada. So yeah.
So does she wanna move, or is that home?
She's happy here.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Yeah.
um she would move based on what's happening with stuff, but no, she's happy here, and I'm really happy here too. I
Good.
don't think I would move at all. I love it here, except for, taxes and other stuff, but no one likes taxes.
I haven't been keeping up with questions at all.
I know. Mal has left, I think.
Okay.
901 and we're 907. Mal, if you haven't left already, have a great night. Thanks again for everything. Thanks for dropping by. Apparently Scott does not like grits.
Scott, let me make
Yeah.
them for you.
Yeah. All right.
If you take dent corn or popcorn and mill it and cook it down with some butter and salt and add cheese and top it with either some pork or some shrimp.
Okay. Now that sounds yummy.
Delicious. Or an egg. Yeah. Breakfast food. Yeah.
Do the pork for me, not the shrimp.
The pork. Yeah. I'm working on that
Yeah.
recipe.
All right.
Oh, man. That's so good.
Making me hungry. Awesome. Look up the Waffle. The index is based on Waffle House's reputation for having good disaster preparedness and staying open. Wow.
The joke in the South is if there's a hurricane. So like when there's a hurricane coming, so we're in Southeast Georgia, but Floridians are like, they're pretty hardcore when it comes to a hurricane. They'll stick it out until the hurricane is on top of them.
Well, that's like you guys, like us dealing with snowstorms. No problem.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what to do in a snowstorm. But the kind of the joke is like the joke is if a Waffle House closes, then you get out. it's, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. My brother introduced me to poutine. He had me order it when the waitress came, and I ordered. Oh, yes. I had it for a snack. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Michigan. It's so funny because I was talking to a acquaintance today about Michigan. Well, it wasn't really Michigan. It was the part of Ontario that tickles Michigan. So, yeah. So Mike and Angie, me and you Acres, they're up in kind of, you could say northern Ontario, but depending on how north you are in Ontario, it's not really northern Ontario. Okay. It's northern Ontario for most people from Ontario, but it's not really northern Ontario. So, but they've got, they're building their own homestead. They sold their old log cabin, so they've been building a new one, and it's pretty cool. Right now they're living in a trailer in the barn.
Nice.
And Angie makes the best burnt lasagnas you will ever taste in your life, as well as the best non-burnt lasagnas. She's gonna kill me for that. Yeah. Love cheese grits with fried eggs. Yes. Can you do that?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's delicious. And I'm really weird because I'll do cheese grits, fried eggs, and jelly.
And jelly?
I love it because I love the balance of the savory and the sweet, but I'll add a little bit of jelly
Oh,
just for
wow.
a hint of sweet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Specific type of jelly or
No.
no?
No, my favorite right now that I have canned is strawberry rhubarb.
Okay.
So good.
Nice. That sounds
So
yummy.
good. Yeah.
It's
So
interesting.
rhubarb is one of those things we can't like get here. Like I don't know if it grows here or not. I've tried to grow it,
Oh, really?
but I get it whenever it's in the store. I buy as much as I can and freeze it, and then
Well, have to send you some because
okay.
here we grow tons of rhubarb.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy because we've planted rhubarb like in our raised garden, in our other spiral garden, in our herb garden, in the front garden. It's like there's rhubarb everywhere.
Ah. And
Yeah.
okay, you can't eat the leaves, right?
No, no,
Okay. Yeah.
no. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, we get strawberries in, so I go pick strawberries in the spring, with the boys, the
Okay.
my little ones. Um, so when I have enough strawberries, I just pull the rhubarb out of the freezer and do some jam. So good.
Nice. I want to say that Lazy Days Ahead, uh, they have a channel. Jesse and it's escaped me now. Someone will mention it in the comment. But Lazy Days Ahead, they sent us a care package with a whole bunch of jams from the US. And
Ah,
they've got like watermelon, and the one we're
what?
working on right now is prickly pear. And it's taken us a bit longer to get through the prickly pear jam. But it was funny because I started eating it and I'm like, okay, it's not bad. It's not great. And then Bridget opens it and she's like, it smells like trout. I'm like, oh, you're kind of right. I'm like, weird. So it's taken us a little bit longer to get through the prickly pear jam. Jesse and Lisa, thank you, Scott. Yeah.
Is
So
it I mean, is that how it's supposed to taste?
I don't know. I would assume so.
Okay.
It tastes yummy, but it has a different smell. And she said it reminded her of trout. So
Do you guys have speaking of jelly, do you guys have pepper jelly there?
okay, I did some pepper jam, but it was not like a regular thing. I
Okay.
took I was doing a jam recipe, so we were canning a whole bunch of jam. So you know the scum that comes off the top?
Yeah.
So I took that and I threw it in a pot and it started reducing back down to regular jam. I'm like, all right, let me see what I can do with this. So I threw in a whole bunch of pepper and I threw in some chives and I threw in some
Nice.
other stuff and mixed it up. And I'm like, oh, wow. So we eat that concoction now with steaks and
Oh,
pork and other
yum.
stuff. And it is
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah,
But it
that
but it's
sounds
not like a
awesome.
regular jam that someone would make. It's like the offshoot of the jam.
I love that. You and I were talking before we went live about like using all of an animal.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, I love that. Even with a jam,
Yep.
okay, what can I do with this instead of just throwing it
It's
away or giving
it's
it to
such
the
a
chickens?
waste.
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I'd
One
say
of the
anyone
things.
who does that with the foam, save that foam, let it reduce back down, throw some spices and chives and pepper in there and have it with your steak. It's like so yummy.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Kill it and grill it. Have a good night. Looks like you're taking off. Thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate you being here. CR is taken off to eat as well.
To
Thanks so
eat.
much for joining us. I've got like
We've
the
made people
one
hungry.
the one video screen here and the other one here. This one continues to scroll through. This one's like stopped. So it's like I gotta kind of keep
Now that I know
going.
that I can see the comments, I'm trying not to look because I'll be distracted.
I know. Hey, it's like yeah, I want to try and answer questions as well as, have the conversation. So, yeah. Yes, pepper
Pepper
jelly.
jelly.
You do like a pepper jelly with chives and stuff, and it's so good with
So good.
steak.
And cream cheese. Do you do it with cream cheese?
I haven't yet. No.
It is so good. Yeah. So
Nice.
do cream cheese just as a snack or, an hors
Okay.
d'oeuvre, cream cheese and pepper jelly and like a cracker.
Oh, that sounds yummy.
So good.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. Hey, Tony and Joni, Creekside Maples. Good to see you. Glad you're here tonight. Hope all is well. They actually used to live down in the States and then moved back to Canada.
Where? Where did they live? Do you know?
I don't remember. We'll have to let them
Maybe
answer.
answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing, so we were just talking about like using the whole animal. One thing that I love to do, I remember like the time that I felt like a homesteader,
Okay.
like for the first time, and it
Yeah.
was when I was cutting up a whole chicken
Okay.
because I had never done that before. So
Like
whole
one that you harvested or one you
one that
bought
we
from the store?
harvested, one that we
Okay.
harvested. So this was a couple years ago, and yeah, and I watched a couple of YouTube videos on how to do it.
Okay.
And then just dove right on in, and I was super, super awkward and like, my cuts were really slow. Um, but that was such a cool feeling. And so
Nice.
now, now I love to do that. And one of the
That's
tips that I
awesome.
have is like, which is probably not anything novel, but if you're cutting vegetables, all of the scraps that you don't need, you can
Yeah.
just freeze those. You probably do this. So
Feed
if
them
you're
to the
cutting
pigs usually.
so, okay, we do so we give out a lot of our scraps to the chickens, but if it's
Yeah.
like if there's nothing wrong with it, so celery or onion or garlic, I put it in a container and put it in the freezer. So then
Okay.
when I'm cutting a chicken, I'll take the meat, off and then
Yeah.
take the carcass of the chicken and pull out one of those freezer
Oh,
bags and then just make
do a
stock.
stock.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's
Nice.
so we always have lots of stock on hand. And that's one thing that when I started cooking from scratch, like, why would you buy stock from the store? It's so simple. And
Yeah. Stock's one of
yeah.
those things that if you can stock and put it away, it's such a big help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Creekside Maples, they were in Missouri.
Okay.
Yeah.
Missouri.
Yeah.
Some people
And
say
now
Missouri.
what? Missouri?
I apparently I say Missouri, but I've heard people say Missouri.
Missouri. Weird. Okay. Maybe they say Missouri. I don't know.
I don't know. Tell us what you say. I've heard it both
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah. That's weird. So anyway, they are out east right now. They had a really rough grow. They were doing a rent to own, and the owner decided to sell the property out from under them. So they got a new property, and right now they are in the middle of building their new homestead. So if you guys want to see what it takes to build a homestead from scratch, go check out Creekside Maples.
Cool.
Yeah,
Man.
they are trying to get stuff done before winter really hits. And they've had a hell of a time with
Where did they
putting in
move?
out onto the east coast of Canada.
Okay.
Um, I'm trying to remember whether it's Nova Scotia or Newfoundland or PI. I don't remember. They're right there somewhere out on the east coast. But they were putting in like trying to get in their foundation footings. And as soon as they dug the hole, it would fill up with water. So then they'd have to go around and pump all the water out, and then it would fill back up with
Wow.
water. So it was like, ouch. People from Missouri say Missouri.
I'm not crazy.
No, No? Weird. Huh. New Brunswick. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ouch. Oh, I saw Old Swedes Farm came in. Good to see you guys as well. Glad you could join us. Hope all is going well. Hickory Croft. You guys probably end up with a lot of stock. They have a homestead as well. They have Icelandic sheep. They have Chanticleer chickens, the same as us. They've had pigs, they've had cows, they've had everything. You do not want to watch their videos because they get into it deep and they will take you, like, your brain starts going, whoa, like, what can I do next? How can I improve my stuff? And then you start
Awesome.
thinking of projects and how you can, like, improve everything. Yeah. So don't watch their videos. It's
Okay.
like, yeah, they will.
You tell me to not to do something, I'm gonna do it. So perfect.
Well, yeah, they take homesteading to the extreme. And
Cool.
Chris talks about, like, put and take. So, like, how you can have animals that reproduce, or you have a closed loop. Chris explains it so much better. Like, if I get Chris up here, he'd be like going deep into stuff. But you know how, say, like, right now we have our Highland cows and we have the bull. The bull can produce babies. So we're pretty self-sufficient for a little bit, right? But we can only keep those two females in the bull for so long. So versus, like, buying a cow, harvesting the cow, buying a cow, harvesting the cow. So it's like that
Mhm.
kind of, yeah, that was kind of like, I need another drink to, yeah. Yeah. It's been a crazy battle. Yeah, I bet. So what, Brittney, was there something that got you into homesteading, as most
Hmm.
people call it? Or was it kind of like you've always been drawn to it, always wanted to do it?
No, definitely not always wanted to do it.
Okay.
I think just the idea of relying on um someone else to take
Okay.
care of me
Yeah.
is it just doesn't make any sense. I should probably learn to do things for myself. That's probably where it came from.
Okay.
Um, I think that, yeah, I don't know what came first.
The
If it
chicken or the
was,
egg?
yeah, exactly. I don't know. Um, I just thought it would be smarter to make sure that you can stand on your own 2 feet for yourself.
Yeah.
So much like, the industry that we're in and the mentality there, you can't always wait on someone else to come to
Right.
your protection
Aid.
or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. What about you? You've so for those of you who don't know, when I met you, you weren't doing this whole thing. This
No,
is this is a new development.
it is. And for me, I always wanted to do it because there were so many things that kind of triggered me. So the one was, when I was young, there was a huge tornado in the town north of us, and it destroyed a lot of infrastructure. And I was like, wow, there's people who their homes are gone or their vehicles are gone. They can't get to the grocery store. There's tons of stuff that has happened where it's kind of put them into a position where, you know they really need help, or if they had their own way of helping themselves, they'd be a lot better off. And for us, tornadoes in Canada aren't as common as the in the US. They do happen a lot up here, which most people don't know, but it's not one of those huge things. So then there was a train derailment in the town next to where I lived as well. I moved to a different place and there was a train derailment. And they were like, okay, you have basically 10 minutes to pack your stuff and get out because of the chemical spill that has happened with that train.
Wow.
So if you don't have documents packed, if you
Yeah.
don't have money packed, if you don't have room on your visa, if you don't have your vehicle gassed up, there could be a huge problem getting out of there and getting to somewhere where you could spend a few days and be okay until they've cleaned up that mess.
Man.
And if it was something serious, what if it takes a month? What are you going to do in the meantime? And then the other incident was the ice storm in Quebec here, where I was still in Ontario at the time, but that ice storm devastated not only Quebec, but a lot of Maine and a lot of the northern parts of the US as well, where some people were out of power for a month. What are you going to do for a month without power in the middle of winter? How are you going to heat your home? How are you going to feed yourself? If you can't go to the grocery store because, the cash registers don't work, the lights don't work, they can't open and pay their employees, the banks can't. How are you going to live for a month without power? So it was kind of like I always wanted to get into that position of being able to be self-sufficient. When you and I first met, I was living in a subdivision. So I was actually in that prepper kind of mindset where, I was starting to stock MREs, freeze-dried foods, that kind of stuff. And then I got the opportunity when I moved here to be able to change that. And now my preps are out on the property, walking around, living, and we feed my preps now. So it's a little bit of a different mindset, a little different situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were some comments coming in. Are you catching up with them?
No, I am not.
I know, I need to.
Yeah. Yeah. Creekside Maples. Everything is flooded again. Can't get to the property because of the mud. Ouch. Yeah. There's a few seasons in Canada, and yeah. Construction is one of those seasons. Mud is a crazy season.
We're just like we haven't had a winter yet at all. We're like we're I would say it in Fahrenheit, but we're like 75 degrees Fahrenheit right now. It hasn't gotten cold.
No. Usually this time of year we have about 2 feet of snow.
Yeah.
And today it was 4 degrees above freezing and raining. And we have our 6 inches of snow that we got is now like an inch, 2 inches.
Are you trying to garden through the winter? Do you do like the loops or the
What? It's crazy talk.
Okay.
Garden through the winter?
I know you can do it there.
Have another drink there, Brittney. No. It's impossible here. There are those where we are who do garden through the winter, but they have heated greenhouses or have greenhouses attached to their houses. But no, there's no such thing as gardening through the winter here.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
There's someone that I her book that I read that was Canadian, and she had these like kind of like little mini greenhouses with like a lid that would open. So it was like a plexiglass, but strong enough to hold up to the snow.
Yeah.
But the lid would open, and
so a cold frame basically
it's probably probably appropriate for Instagram, maybe not practicality.
So cold frames are great, but again, through the night, depending on the temperature.
Okay.
Yeah. And then if you get 6
Mm.
feet or a foot of snow, now you're going to have to shovel off your cold frame, and, it's basically buried.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Uh, it is a hobby as much as a lifestyle. Yeah. I'd say lifestyle more than a
Yeah.
hobby. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Construction, the season that never ends. Not in Canada. No. No. The doom. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. If you aren't prepared for like a power outage or a flood or a forest fire or train derailment or tornado, hurricane, earthquake, I
Yeah.
think everyone should be.
Is the old Swedes farm? Do you know? Hi,
Yeah.
hi. Do you know them?
Not as well as I should.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they in Sweden?
No.
No.
They are.
I've been to Sweden a few times. That's why I'm just asking.
Have you?
Yeah,
Yeah, because
it's
with
awesome.
work, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. I want to say they're out west in Canada,
Okay.
but I'm
Yeah,
trying to remember. Oh, no. Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah. I knew they were like, you still had winter and still had everything like Canadians, but not,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I love with my job I've gotten to go there basically once a year.
Nice.
I love Sweden. It's
I
beautiful.
want to go there. I want to go to Norway, Sweden, Finland. I've been to
Yeah.
Iceland and I loved it. So,
Iceland like grew in popularity the last couple of years.
did it? Yeah.
It's gorgeous. Yeah. I've never
Yeah.
been, but it sure does look
It's
like a
kind of
place to go.
freaky though when you land on the plane and there's like no trees, none.
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird. You drive around and there's no trees.
Huh.
Very few spots you can find trees. You get up to like I want to say it's the northern part of Reykjavik, and then you start seeing trees where they've started reforesting, but it's kind of freaky.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
We purchased it. I'll send you a link to where we purchased it. I don't know if I would suggest that company versus a different company. We got our shipment and it wasn't packed that well. And then we also got like 4 trailer hitches in that shipment as well with our hot tub, which was weird. So I'll keep you posted on that. Yeah.
Yeah, you posted a picture from the hot tub yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Living
Yeah.
the life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Totally off grid so we don't lose
Wow.
power. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. It happens between second mud season and rainy, wet, miserable late fall. Yep. Uh, Iceland is awesome. Northern Norway and Sweden remind me of Minnesota.
Huh.
I can see how a lot of Swedes could settle here and feel at home. Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've only been to southern Sweden.
Okay.
So, yeah.
We were planning a trip to Norway. We want to hit a music festival concert.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's like Midgardsblot. So it's a 3-day, 4-day concert with a whole bunch of like, I want to say Viking metal bands.
Yeah.
and it's on these old Viking graves and old
Wow.
village and stuff. So you spend, 4 days there chatting with others and seeing stuff and listening to music. And then we were going to head up from there to Sweden to see some friends we know up there. So hopefully we can do it next year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
When do you
Yeah.
go? What month? Do you know?
I want to say it. I want to say the concert is in September.
Okay.
So it'd be September-ish sometime. Yeah. Iceland is very barren. Been there once for, yeah. It is barren, but it's beautiful. It just crazy awesome.
Hmm.
We have a quicksand season here right now. Ouch. Not good. I don't know, but
there's an
quicksand
old video I watched when I was a kid, and there was quicksand in it, and now I'm like freaked out by it.
It's one of those. I was gonna say, like, quicksand used to be this thing that I was so scared of
Yeah.
growing up. Like, I'm gonna hit quicksand everywhere just because so many movies and TV shows had
Right.
quicksand.
He died in quicksand.
Yes, it was like, you're watching your favorite movie, then all of a sudden the hero gets sucked into the quicksand, and you're like, oh my god. I'm gonna have to watch out for quicksand when I get older. It's like,
That's funny. Speaking of, since we mentioned Minnesota, a friend of mine came to visit from Minnesota, and she pulled up to the driveway, and is sitting in her car, and I kind of come out, and she looks around and then bolts up to the porch. Like, what are you doing? She's like, well, you have alligators around here. Like, they're not gonna jump out and get you. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because my good friend is down now in where is it? It's like, I want to say southern Florida. It's the Big Horse area in Florida.
The Big Horse area in Florida.
Uh,
Ocala? I don't know. I don't know where that would be.
So they go riding their horses, but they go along the I want to say it's the dikes or the dams, but it's like, the mounds beside the rivers.
Yeah.
And so he's always got alligators everywhere and sends me pictures of like alligators and their yard and stuff like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, you do. It was for work. I was doing a photo shoot like 2 months ago. Totally in a populated area. We were on a road, a paved road under an overpass doing some law enforcement images. And I looked down the road and there was an alligator crossing the road. Like, look. Yeah, you see them. You see them everywhere. You just keep your distance.
That's crazy. Yeah. Creekside Maples, have a great night. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good to talk to you guys.
It sucks that you have to drive for that. That's not good, but you guys take care. Hopefully the weather is good for your drive. All the recipes are using milled grains or no?
Yeah. Let's see. All of them. I've only been baking and cooking with milled grains for the past 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can pretty much you can kind of do a 1-for-1 conversion. If you're doing a bread or a cake where it's kind of more, you want your measurements to be more sciencey.
Okay.
You want to add a little bit more of the fresh milled flour, and you also want to add baking soda and salt typically. Yeah, but yes, all of the recipes that are on my blog are fresh milled grains.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Gator.
Gator is like, I mean, it kind of tastes okay. This is a little bit of a weird comparison, but back in the day in China, I've had frog, and it kind
Okay.
of tastes like frog, which is almost like it's chicken, but there's almost a
Gamey,
a hint a
swampy.
hint of fish.
Okay.
So with gator, what you don't want to do is taste the fat because it's
Oh,
just
wow.
awful. The fat
Okay.
on a gator is terrible. Um,
Huh.
so when
So
you
like the opposite of beef, like
yeah,
technically you want some fat on the beef to add to the moisture content of your beef as well as the flavor.
yeah, I
Not in
know.
a gator.
Beef fat, pork fat, that's great, but,
Yeah.
with a gator, you make sure you get all of that off.
Huh.
But otherwise, it pretty much like, when you do that, it tastes like chicken, as
Okay.
anything might.
So chicken, rabbit, the whole
Sure.
squirrel. Yeah.
Squirrel, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It all does kind of taste the same, kind of.
Do you guys have bear?
Yeah.
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 Do you hunt bear? Do you eat
So
bear?
I've never actually eaten bear. I've hunted for bear a few times, never got one. Um, Hunted for turkey multiple times, never got one. So I'm gonna have to change both of that.
Do you have one season for turkey?
No, we now do. Well, it depends where you are in Canada. Some had spring hunt, and then in a lot of those places now they've opened for spring and fall hunt, where some places still have just spring hunt.
Yeah, that's the same here. We in
Yeah.
our area, we just have spring, but,
Okay.
a lot of places around in the States will have both.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, come on, well, we're in the States, but, for Thanksgiving, you need to be able to go out and hunt a turkey.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
it's interesting for your hunters that are watching. We went up to Maine to, like, the northern it was actually we crossed the border into Canada on
Yeah.
this trip, but hunted for bear in Maine, and,
So you got the
the
taxi to take you to like that illegal crossing and grabbed your suitcases and ran across the border?
I went across and I, of course, bought maple syrup. That was what I did.
Maine has a lot of maple syrup too.
Yeah, I know, but I bought it in Canada. Along with, ironically, a Cajun maple, like, rub or
N-
something.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. Um, but anyway, the bear that we got there, that year I shot the biggest bear, um, that was harvested on that piece of property.
Yeah.
Um, and then the following year we hunted here in Georgia, and my bear up in Maine was 225 pounds, and the one that we got here, the one that I got, we both got one, was like closer to 400 pounds in Georgia. So quite
Nice.
surprising. Yeah, but bear is
Yeah.
delicious as well. You do want to
Right.
cook it all the way, but it tastes a lot like beef.
That's just it is
Yeah.
I've heard that from everyone that you do want to cook bear thoroughly.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, I don't like chicken. Rather eat alligator sausage than chicken, and that means a lot because I'm vegetarian. Alligator is the best as a sausage mix
I
with
don't
spices.
think I've ever had that.
No?
That's interesting.
Guess
Okay.
you're gonna have to do that now, eh?
Yeah.
Send me up some gator sausage.
Sure. I'm already putting
Yeah.
my sons in for their gator tag because it takes so many
Nice.
years to get them.
Wild turkey is good. The animal or the alcohol?
Yes.
Yes, please hit that thumbs up. If you're watching and you're not subscribed, make sure you do that. Make sure you join us for more videos later, and make sure you get over to Marvel and Make and follow Brittney to check out what she is doing as well.
Thanks, Darren.
You're welcome. Canadian bear seems smaller, but it was just the exchange rate. Yep, exactly. Ground bear, bear steak, bear roast, bear bacon. What are the cuts with a bear?
Yeah.
Bear kind of freaked me out because it's so funny because, like, you know, you skin a bear and it's like that almost looks like a human or some freaky life form compared to, like, you do a cow or a pig or a moose or a deer or something. Then you do a bear and it's like, whoa, yikes.
Whoa. I don't
Yeah.
think I've never seen a skinned human, Darren.
Well, I'm just saying,
I've never like thought of it like that.
Yeah.
The way that we harvested, so for the main bears that we got,
Yeah.
we had paid for a week-long trip in beautiful Maine,
Nice.
and I shot my bear on Tuesday, and then that evening, I believe, we had no service where we were.
Okay.
I talked to my dad hours later, and he said, "Well, what are you doing about this hurricane?" Speaking of hurricanes, and I was like, "What do you mean?" So there was apparently a hurricane heading straight for us, and that was when we were living on the water. So
Ouch.
so we had to hightail it home as fast as possible. And we were the only ones going south on 95, other than like linemen and police officers and National Guard.
Right. Right.
And so for the main bears, we got home, used whoever mentioned the KitchenAid attachment. We used a KitchenAid attachment meat grinder and ground both of our bears that we got, all of it into ground bear.
Okay.
That was the first time. Then with the lost power a couple of times because the hurricane was literally coming. And that was the same storm that I mentioned that we were out of power for 8 days.
Wow.
So used the generator to run the freezer to save the meat.
Oh.
And then the following year, the bears that we got in Georgia, we did ground, but then did a lot of roast.
Okay.
And the other thing with bear that's really good is the fat. Render the fat down, and you can use it like for a pie crust.
So
like
same as using like the leaf lard in a cow, pig, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Oh,
but
wow.
Bear fat is really it's really sweet. It makes a really good pie crust. But bear fat's good. Yeah. Yep.
So
bear bacon, I've never thought of, or
So basically any fat except gator.
Yeah. You don't want gator fat.
Good to know. Good to know. Awesome. Well, is there anything else you want to tell the audience while you got their attention there?
Oh my goodness. I don't think so.
No?
This has been really fun. I was nervous because I'm under the weather, but I guess the alcohol has helped me through.
Doesn't show it. No. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Thanks for the invite.
Hey, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Glad you could join us. Hope everyone gets over and checks you out and follows you along and gets some ideas and inspiration from what you do.
Thank you. Yeah, the blog is more heavily populated with recipes. I've got like over 50 recipes so far, and I'm a year into it. YouTube channel, I think I've only got like 15 videos or so.
Okay.
So still growing, but it's a lot of fun.
Can they find your blog through the YouTube channel, or is everything basically just Marvel and Make?
Yeah, Marvel. It's all Marvel and Make. I do a pretty detailed like YouTube video description, so you can any recipe that I mentioned in the video, you can see it'll link you back to my social channels and blog.
Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, I think we'll finish it up there unless anyone has any other questions. Nothing personal because we're not going to go there. So, yeah. But thanks so much for joining me tonight, Brittney. I really appreciate it. hope you had a good time and some fun, and hope everyone learned a little bit about the South and grits and gators and that kind of stuff. So
That's what you can walk away from. Grits and okra and gator. Y'all.
y'all, we're not worried about your, home cooking or cooking from scratch. As the gators and grits that really got us.
Love it.
Yeah, yeah. So sounds like I'm going down to SHOT Show this year.
Oh,
So I don't
good.
know if you are, but if you are, I'll definitely be seeing you there. So
Yeah, I should see you
yeah,
there.
exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, I
We'll
don't
have a
see any.
drink in person.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. So I don't see any other questions popping up. So everyone have a great night. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you haven't already, go over, check out Brittney at Marvel and Make, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Darren. It's
You're
fun.
welcome.